It's a diddly-daddly day to be alive. Crooks committing some felonies, you better bet'll be tried. It's a little old daddly ditty, pitiful devils be fried. It's a diddly-daddly day, a diddly-daddly day to be alive. Hi there, folks. How are you doing today? Existentially dreadful? Aren't we all? Well, everybody, my name's Mr. Turner, and today I'd like to read you a little book called The Death Note. Well, how's about we just open it up and give it a good old look, shall we? Once upon a time, in a mysterious faraway land called Japan, there lived a boy named Light Yagami. Despite being smart, handsome, good at sports, and well-liked by all his peers, Light was unhappy with life. Light would always sit around and think about the rudimentary flaws of a society that fails to uphold a functional penal system or provide a half-decent means of reintegration for its criminal population. This world is broken, said the boy. But little did he know, off in another realm filled with gods of death, called Shinigami, one special little monster was saying the same exact thing. A god of death, as bored as he was, a nihilistic sadist. His name was Ryuk. Ryuk liked apples. In a strange twist of fate, after Ryuk completely unintentionally dropped a powerful notebook that allowed its user to kill anyone whose name was written in it into the human realm, this book, known as the Death Note, was found by Light. Seeing no issues of morality whatsoever, Light happily accepted this book, and he and Ryuk became fast friends. "I can't wait to kill people," Light cheered. "But remember, Light," warned Ryuk, "nothing lasts forever. As soon as the fun is over, I'll write your name in my death note myself. Don't forget. That'll be important later." And so, with the help of Ryuk's death note, Light began his quest to make the world a better place, executing criminals by the dozens. Everything was going swell. But this was just the beginning of Light's plan. With enough hard work and enough heart, Light hoped to create a new world order where he would rule as its undeniable god. But with plans so ambitious, it wouldn't be long before his actions were noticed. Before Light knew it, news outlets began reporting on an unknown killer named Kira, and everyone on the police force was working extra hard to find and capture them. But the hardest worker of them all was none other than Soichiro Yagami, family man, chief of police, and father of Light Yagami, who was committing daily mass murder just a few rooms away, wholly unbeknownst to his dad. But as time went on and all this silly serial killing business continued to stump the police, one man was tasked with putting it to a close once and for all. He was the world's greatest detective, L. L was a very scary man because he had never failed to solve a mystery, and his name was only one letter. Light knew all too well not to trust people with short names, so he put his pen up to the death note, ready to kill him. "But wait a second," Light exclaimed. "In order to kill someone with the death note, the rules say I need to know their full name and their face. All I know about this guy is just one measly letter. So if I want to kill this detective, I'll need to do some detective work of my own." And so the two began a ferocious game of cat and mouse, trying all sorts of tricks to claim the delicious cheese of their rival's identity, all the while making sure their own cheesy identity wasn't revealed in the process. Through this fierce battle of the minds, neither end would give up a hint of information, even if they asked nicely. Then, one day, while attending his college orientation, Light found himself sitting next to a strange man with pale skin and exposed toes. As Light turned to look this man in his buggy, sleep-deprived eyes, the man introduced himself. "Hello, Light," said the man. "My name's L." "Wait," Light replied. "What the fuck?" And so the two held a tea party to celebrate their first meeting, and L asked Light all sorts of silly questions about the Kira murder investigation. Light knew this was probably a trick to get him to admit his crimes, but still answered the questions like the killer would, because lying is wrong. After enough discussion, L decided he had heard enough. "Well, Light Yagami, you answered every single question exactly like Kira would have, and so you've given me no choice but to invite you into my super secret private investigation friendship club. It'll be a big help having someone on our team who thinks so similarly to Kira." And just like that, Light had gained an unlikely ally and new best friend, L. The two did everything together, like eating candy, playing sports, and investigating mass homicide cases. L even introduced Light to all of his police force clubmates. There was the goofball, Matsuda, the grump, Aizawa, and of course Soichiro. who Light already knew, because that was his dad. Not long after Light joined the Friendship Club, though, something unbelievable happened. A second mass murderer appeared, claiming to be the second Kira, demanding to meet the original. "El crud, this is no good," Light thought to himself. "Killing people is wrong if I'm not the one doing it. I guess I'll have to meet this horrible villain and stop them." So Light met the second Kira in secret, and to his surprise, she wasn't a villain at all. She was a beautiful actress named Misa Amane, and as we all know, you can't be evil if you're beautiful. It turned out, as fate would have it, Kira killed the man who murdered Misa's parents, and from that point on, all she wanted was to meet her hero. "And now," said Miss Amane, "I have just one question for you, Kira. Will you be my boyfriend?" Light didn't know what to say, because he had never been asked out by a mass murderer before. Feeling determined, Misa continued. "I even have a death note, and my very own Shinigami, Rem." "Hello," said Rem. Light was impressed with what Misa had to offer, but more than anything, what drew Light in was something special in Misa's eyes. And that was her Shinigami eyes, a special power which allows a person to sacrifice half of their lifespan to know the name of anybody they see. "Wow," Light exclaimed. "I wasn't so sure at first, but now that you can offer me something, I think I'm in love." "Hooray!" cheered Misa. "This feels very normal and healthy." And so Light and Misa became boyfriend and girlfriend, till death did every criminally offending lowlife on the planet part. Or at least that was the plan, until Light found Misa's DNA on a piece of evidence and placed her and her star-crossed accomplice Light in federal timeout for suspected homicide. Misa, a professional bad liar, knew that she was in big trouble, so before she could tell Elle anything that would get Light in trouble too, she asked Rem to remove her memories of owning the Death Note. Because Rem cared deeply for Misa, she was happy to help. Misa would have no memories of owning the Death Note until she touched the notebook again. All Misa could now remember was her love for her boyfriend, Light Yagami. And thankfully, not even the federal government can convict you for being in love. "Wowza," Light thought. "Who knew you could do that? And all you have to do to regain your memories is touch the book?" Just then, Light had an idea. "Ryuk," Light said, "could you remove my memories before the FBI asks me if I killed all those people I killed?" "Of course," Ryuk replied. "After all, if the FBI interrogated you now, you would need to lie, and lying is wrong." So for 50 whole days, the two were under constant watch from Elle and the Friendship Club. But surprisingly, the killing didn't stop. "How could this be?" wondered Elle. "Well, that's just the thing," Elle remarked Light from 50 days in the past. "You can take my free agency, you can take my memories of the Death Note, you can even take my girlfriend, who I love for no ulterior motives, but you can never take what makes me me, Elle." Killing people through really complicated, excessively roundabout ways. As it turned out, before giving up his memories, Light left his Death Note in the hands of the most evil person he could think of, an ordinary high-salary businessman. So he did what a typical upper-class corporate magnate would do if given the opportunity. And as competing CEOs suddenly became an endangered species, attention was finally diverted from Light and Misa. After clearing their names, Light and Misa were removed from their cells and invited back to the Friendship Club. "I'm sorry," Elle confessed. "Real friends trust each other no matter what. I should have never accused you of being Kira." "I forgive you, Elle," replied Kira. And so, with Light and Misa's memories still gone, the investigation team figured out who was behind the recent killings. It seemed that Kira was one of the 8 members of a super powerful business acquaintance alliance known as the Yotsuba Group. So Elle came up with a genius plan to find the imposter among them. Hoping to trick the new Kira into revealing his identity, Elle introduced the Yotsuba Group to Misa Amane, claiming that she was the second Kira. A lie so believable it could have been true, and reveal himself he did. The killer's name was Kyosuke Higuchi. He looked like a rooster. Now that the Friendship Club had found the third Kira, it was time to bring him to justice. So, after gaining the info they needed, the Friendship Club ran to a broadcasting station to announce a live, televised doxing of the third Kira's personal information. And Higuchi, knowing how cancel culture would react to a serial-killing billionaire, raced to the TV station, Death Note in hand. Before he could reach the station, though, he was stopped by the police force and cock-a-doodle detained. The day was once again saved by the Friendship Club. To celebrate their success, everybody held a congratulatory Touch the Death Note party. Everybody, including the second Light touched the Death Note, all of his memories came flooding back to him. Kira had finally returned. So Light helped Misa to regain her memories, and with 2 death notes and Misa's Shinigami eyes back in his hands, Light was ready to go a-killin' again. Wait a second, Light thought to himself. I just realized all this killing stuff is pretty dangerous. If I keep using the death note, Elle could catch me. So, to divert attention off himself, Light gave Misa a turn with the death note, because sharing is caring. With all of Misa's new, strangely murderous habits, however, Elle grew suspicious. If nobody stepped in, Elle was sure to discover Misa, and Misa was sure to face the ultimate friendship club punishment, the death penalty. Naturally, as the person who cared for her most in this world, Rem was starting to get a little worried. Please, Light, won't you stop this? Rem pleaded. If something doesn't happen soon, Misa will be in serious trouble. Oops, replied Light, who then did absolutely jack all differently. Oops indeed, thought Rem. Well, if Light isn't going to save Misa, then I will. So Rem took out her death note and she wrote down a name. Just like that, a body collapsed to the floor. It was the world's greatest detective, Elle. Rem had taken Elle's life in order to save Misa, but this decision came at a price. Because Shinigami were forbidden from using the death note to save a human's life, Rem's selfless act came at the cost of her own life. And so, with Light's main threat eliminated, there was no longer anybody capable of stopping Light. His new world order could finally truly begin. It's Death Note time! Well, folks, that's the end of the first book. I wonder what's going to happen next. I guess we'll have to see next time when we continue on to the second book. Immediately, let's take a look, shall we? After 5 peaceful years of non-stop killing, things were going great for our hero, Light Yagami. He was now the head of Japan's NPA, or nicest police agency. He and Misa were as in love as ever, and he could kill anybody he wanted. Life was perfect. Sadly though, nothing perfect lasts forever, and one day, Light would receive some news that would make him a little bit blue. It seemed his sister had been kidnapped by a blonde bowl cut with a temper and his crew of smelly American gangsters. According to their hostage demands, the ruffians were looking to exchange Light's sister for the NPA's death note. Then, as Light planned to save his sister, he received a call from a mysterious stranger. "Hello, Light. My name is Nier," said the boy. "I'm like Elle if he was shorter, had white hair, and couldn't legally buy alcohol or vote. Anyway, the head gangster you're looking for is actually my friend from Genius Club. His name is Mello." As fate would have it, Nier and Mello grew up together in an orphanage for gifted children, kind of like the X-Men, but with less superpowers and more trauma. At the orphanage, Nier and Mello were training to be super sleuth detectives under their trusted mentor, Elle. When Elle died, he left the case to Nier and Mello, but since Mello was absent during the Sharing is Caring unit, he couldn't stand sharing the case with Nier and left the orphanage to solve it by himself. And now, Nier continued, Mello is trying to catch Kira before I can, using his secret weapon, an unsettling propensity for violence. With this newfound information, Light and Soichiro felt much safer in negotiating with terrorists. And so, Light's sister was returned in exchange for the death note. Now one step closer to solving the case, Mello was elated. "I've finally gotten the death note," cheered Mello. "With the book out of Kira's hands, I can stop these senseless killings once and for all." Then Mello killed everyone on Nier's investigation team with the death note. "Ah, crud," Nier pouted. "What a bummer. I can't give up now, though. If I want to catch Kira, I have to find a super smart team to work with. But who might that be?" A short while later, the Friendship Club received a call on the friendship phone. Light picked up. "Hello, Light. It's Nier again. Mom says it's my turn to investigate the Kira case with you. Also, I think you killed Elle, so if you don't team up with me, I'll report you to the federal government for bullying a minor." In recognition of these compelling points, Light had no choice but to accept Nier's offer. "Okay, Nier, I accept your proposal, but only because I'm no killer, and more importantly, I'm no bully." But because this was a phone call, Nier couldn't see that Light's fingers were crossed. And so, an alliance was formed, and bully victims around the world wept. So the team planned a super secret mission to find the gangster gang, take back the death note, and kill Mello. There was just one problem though. Nobody, not even Nier, knew Mello's real name. It seemed the only way to find Mello's real name was for somebody to take the Shinigami eyes, sacrificing half of their lifespan to see the name of any person they could see, including Mello. As the room fell silent, one man stepped forward. "If somebody has to do it, then I will." It was none other than Light's father, Soichiro Yagami. "After all," he remarked, You can't spell Soichiro without 2 I's. And so the top secret mission began, and after locating the boss hideout and taking back the Death Note, Soichiro Yagami stopped Mello and discovered his real name. But sadly, unable to take a person's life with the Death Note, Soichiro froze up, giving Mello just enough time to bust out the blicky and open fire on Soichiro, killing him permanently. After returning to the MPA office, Light received another call from Nier. "Hello, Light. I'm sorry that your father died," said the boy. "But enough small talk. I was just talking to my detective friend who definitely didn't kill your dad, and he seems to have evidence that you might really be a killer. Is that true?" Upon hearing this, Light got serious. "Nier," he replied, "accuse me of murder once, shame on me. But accuse me of murder twice, shame on you. I already told you, I'm no killer, I'm no bully." Then Light gave Nier a swirly through the phone to put him in his place, and Nier decided to leave for the time being. "Very well," Nier said. "I believe you for now, but if anybody in the Friendship Club thinks I may be right, I'll leave my contact info." And while Light was able to drive the boy away, it seemed Nier was not the only one with suspicions. And so, Aizawa the Grump called Nier, revealing all the details of the last investigation. "Thank you, Mr. the Grump," said Nier. "I think I know what needs to be done next. Here's what you can do." So, the next day, Aizawa suggested that in celebration of the 5-year anniversary of Light and Misa's horrifically traumatizing 50-day imprisonment, Light and Misa should go under 24-hour surveillance to prove their innocence, for old time's sake. Knowing it would be suspicious if they refused, Light and Misa agreed, and their constant surveillance began immediately. "Well, this is just no good. How am I going to kill people if Misa and I are being watched all the time?" Light said, but inside of his head because of the surveillance. "I guess if I'm going to continue my work, then I'll need to find somebody trustworthy. Somebody who will make the same decisions I would, even if I can't tell them what to do." And so, after plenty of searching, Light found the perfect person for the job. A man named Teru Mikami. Mikami was a borderline sociopath who didn't believe in the concept of moral gray area and felt that all bad people should die immediately. The perfect recipient for a death note, thought Light. "All right, Mikami, do your stuff." "Yippee, I hate people," Mikami exclaimed. And so, with death note in hand and absolutely no restrictions placed on him, Mikami went on a killing spree. "Wow, Mikami," Light remarked, "you've committed unbridled atrocities on this day. Good job." "Thank you, Kira," or should I say, God, Mikami replied, parasocially. "By the way, God, I met this really nice reporter lady named Kiyomi Takada. She's a big Kira fan. Maybe she can get us some Kira fans on her TV segment." "Hold your horses, Mikami," Light interjected. "I know Takada. We had an ambiguous romantic involvement in college." "Wow, what are the odds?" replied Mikami. "By the way, God, do you happen to have the time?" Light looked down at his watch. "Well, what do you know, Mikami? It's infidelity o'clock." And so, new polyamorous Light Yagami used his boyish charms to win over Takada and her media influence, taking the final steps towards eliminating his remaining enemies. With Mikami as Kira's right hand and Takada as Kira's spokesperson, victory was in sight. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Just then, however, things went wrong, as Mikami got caught using the Death Note by Nier, and Takada was kidnapped by Mello. Since Mikami wasn't in captivity, he was in no danger yet, but if things went wrong with Takada, they could all be in some serious trouble. "Well," Light sighed, "I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this." Then, Light grabbed his Death Note. If I don't want Takada spilling the old murder beans, I'm left with no other choice. And so, following plan, Takada commits a murder-suicide. Takada committed a murder-suicide. Mello also died. Goodbye, Mello. Now, with Light having lost 1 out of 2 one and only true loves, and Nier losing the closest, most radicalized thing he ever had to a brother, the two had had enough. "That does it," shouted the two. "This ends now." And so, Light and Nier scheduled a play date to meet face to face and settle things once and for all, knowing full well that if all went as expected, only one person was walking away from this play date alive. Nier spoke first. "This is the end of the line, Light bully me. When we caught Mikami in the act, we stole the Death Note and switched it out with a fake. Now the real Death Note is in my hands." "You fiend!" Light exclaimed. "Except just kidding. I knew you found my Death Note, so I made my own fake one, and I let you take it, thinking it was real. What you have is the real fake, meaning the fake Death Note, aka the real Death Note, is actually just outside this building. And there, standing on the other side of the door, was Mikami, Death Note in hand. As per Light's instruction, everyone's names, including Near, his team, and even the MPA, were already written in its pages. "You fiend," said Near. "Except just kidding. I knew you let me take the real fake, so I actually switched the pages on the death notes. That means Mikami's fake death note is actually a triple fake, not real death note, and I can prove it." Just then, to prove his point, Near died. Of boredom, waiting for Mikami's death note to work, which it did not, because it was a fake. Realizing he had been caught, Light stood before his peers. "Well," Light conceded, "boy, do I have egg on my face." "Except just kidding. Go emergency watch compartment death note page." But before Light could write everyone's names in the page, somebody stepped in. Counterattack. Gun. It was Matsuda the goofball and his special gun attack. "Oh, shoot," said Light. But at that point, Matsuda already had. With no other options left, Light Swiss cheese Yagami did what any honorable man in his position would do and ran away with his pants around his ankles. And as Light ran, he thought back on his life. "Oh, geez," Light thought, "now that I really think about it, maybe it was a bad idea to kill all those people every day for 5 uninterrupted years. Maybe what I was missing all along was..." But before Light could finish that thought, he clutched at his heart, looked up to the sky, and let out one final breath of life before passing on. Far off in the distance, with death note in hand, Ryuk sat, overlooking the scene. "Well, Light, that sure was fun, but the fun is over now, and a promise is a promise. It's death note time." And as Ryuk sent Light off to bad person heaven, returning to the Shinigami realm with his death note, the world let out a collective sigh of relief. After 5 long years, Kira was gone, and being a majorly offending criminal was finally legal again. And while hundreds, perhaps thousands of people died at the hands of Kira, the most important lesson the world learned from this experience is that the one thing that not even the death note can kill is the power of friendship. The end. Well, gosh, wasn't that just a lovely story? Who could have expected that Light would be the bad guy in the end? Certainly not me. Well, everybody, I'd like to thank you all for joining me for my little story time today. My name is Mr. Turner, and I hope you come back soon. Have a diddly deadly day. I'm not leaving. I live here. It's me or you. And I'm going nowhere. Toodaloo. Till next time, friend. Okay, leave now.